the ticket price. This does not shock me at all. What did I say earlier? The WNBA was about to F around and find out, and these rival teams were going to be in a lot of trouble. Well, they're...
Want to see the power of one superstar? Watch what happens when Caitlin Clark gets benched. A single injury announcement sent ticket prices for Indiana Fever games into absolute freefall. We're talking a brutal 71% crash overnight. Before her injury news broke, fans were shelling out $86 just to get through the door for a Fever versus Sky matchup. Hours later, those same seats were going for $25. This isn't some league-wide trend or economic downturn. This is what happens when you remove the one person everyone actually came to see.
Has been a net positive for the WNBA and all of its teams. But the star guard expected to miss a minimum of 2 weeks. The league will see the flip side of her impact, and there are already initial data points. This is front office sports, no conspiracies, no BS from them.
The numbers don't lie, and they're about to tell us a story that might make the WNBA pretty uncomfortable. Is Caitlin Clark really the only player who can move the needle in this league? And if Angel Reese is supposed to be the next big thing, why isn't she stopping this financial bloodbath? Let's dive into the cold, hard data that's exposing some serious cracks in women's basketball.
Well, now might be the time to hit the panic button. 48 hours after news hits that Caitlin Clark is injured and she'll be missing 2 weeks, the market has responded, and the market has told the WNBA, we don't want this. We want her, but we don't want this.
Before that injury hit, every Fever game was pure gold. Fans were gladly dropping serious cash. We're talking 80 plus just to walk in the building for premium matchups. The hype was so intense that teams started making power moves to cash in. Chicago Sky didn't just move their Fever game to a slightly bigger venue. They went nuclear, shifting from their cozy 2,400 seat home to the massive 21,000 seat United Center. That's not playing it safe. That's betting your entire house that Clark alone could pack an NBA-sized arena. Then reality hit like a freight train.
Chicago Sky can't sell out their own 9,000-something seat arena like it is. They couldn't when they were kind of decent. They're a dumpster fire now. And now that Caitlin Clark is injured, the ticket prices for the Fever and Sky game just plummeted to Hades.
Let me break down exactly how devastating this collapse was. That United Center showdown between Fever and Sky. Before Clark's injury news dropped, cheapest tickets were sitting at $86. The moment she was ruled out, those prices nosedived to $25. A bone-crushing 71% drop that happened faster than you could refresh StubHub. Baltimore saw the same carnage. Fever road game tickets against the Mystics went from $41 down to $22.40 Cephirus. Even smaller venues felt the earthquake. Dream games that were commanding $147 when Clark was expected suddenly became bargain basement deals.
To games over the next 2 weeks have dropped 42% since Caitlin Clark's injury announcement, an average ticket price of $137 all the way down to $80.
Still think this is just a coincidence? Look at the 5 Fever games leading up to June 10th. Average ticket prices plummeted from $137 to $80 after the injury news. That's a 42% nosedive in just 2 weeks. These aren't minor market adjustments or seasonal fluctuations. This is the market screaming one message loud and clear. No Clark, no cash. Fans aren't just slightly less interested when she's not playing. They're walking away entirely. You can literally feel the energy drain from arenas before the game even starts.
People are selling their tickets, definitely can't get face value, so what do? They just continue to lower and lower and lower and lower and lower the price. This isn't all resellers, folks. Hate to break it to you. A majority of these are everyday normal people. A majority of these are everyday normal people who watch Caitlin Clark in Iowa, watch her in her first year in Indiana, said, man, I want to watch that. I want to go to those games. I want to experience that. They won't be able to experience it
That United Center move was supposed to be the victory lap for women's basketball, proof that the sport had finally broken through to mainstream success. Instead, it became a public embarrassment. Instead of 21,000 screaming fans celebrating the new era, the Sky got thousands of empty seats staring back at them. The league's massive gamble on Clark's drawing power got exposed in the most brutal way possible. It's not just about ticket sales either. When she's not there, the entire vibe dies.
I mean, it's more statistical proof, data, to confirm exactly what we've been saying, that Caitlin Clark is driving this whole ship, this whole bus. She's driving it, everybody else get in the back.
This isn't your typical superstar injury situation where fans grumble but still show up out of loyalty. The WNBA's numbers are painting a terrifying picture. Clark's absence isn't just disappointing, it's a full-blown crisis. Sure, the league has been growing, but that growth is built on incredibly shaky ground, essentially one person's shoulders. When a single injury can trigger this kind of market collapse, you have to ask some serious questions about whether this league has any real foundation at all.
The marquee matchup in the WNBA, like it or love it, rivalry or not, Chicago Sky, Indiana Fever, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, that is the marquee matchup in the WNBA, and those tickets are crashing just as well. From $86 48 hours ago to $25. And by the time June 7th rolls around, it might cost you a bag of Skittles and some Lay's potato chips to get in there.
With Clark watching from the sidelines, everyone's desperately searching for someone, anyone, who can fill that massive void. And if you've been paying attention to women's basketball drama, you know exactly which name keeps getting thrown around as the solution.
And we have plenty of evidence that proves Angel Reese is not qualified to carry the lead.
Angel Reese just got handed the most pressure-packed opportunity of her career. With Clark out, every spotlight, every expectation, every hope for keeping this momentum alive just landed squarely on her shoulders. Reese has never been quiet about her impact. She's got the style, the confidence, the social media presence, and she's repeatedly claimed that fans tune in specifically for her. She's built an undeniable personal brand and commanded attention wherever she goes. But here's where things get uncomfortable. The market is about to put her money where her mouth is.
The get-in tickets for the Fever's rivalry game against the Chicago Sky on June 7th are down 71% from $86 to $25.
Remember that United Center move? Chicago didn't make that decision for fun. They were banking everything on the Reese versus Clark rivalry, creating must-see television and selling out that massive venue. But when Clark got scratched, the bottom fell out. Suddenly that arena looked way too big, the excitement evaporated, and ticket demand went into free fall. This wasn't just one bad night either. It was a preview of what happens when the league's backup plan gets tested against reality.
Wednesday's Fever game versus the Mystics at CFG Bank Arena in Baltimore has a get-in price.
Let's talk about that Mystics versus Fever game. Another perfect test of whether Reese can actually move tickets. Even with her still in the mix and all eyes on her, prices still crashed from $41 down to $22, a devastating 47% drop. This isn't some minor market correction. This is proof that fans simply aren't showing up for Reese the way they do for Clark, even when she's front and center in the storyline.
This game get in was like $100 at one stage. This was $100 at one stage. Let's go one ticket. Or well, is it two tickets? Two tickets. Let's just see what it costs for court. Look at how many, oh my god, look at how many people are selling tickets.
What's really telling is Reese's silence through all of this chaos. While she's usually never shy about promoting herself and talking about her drawing power, she's been remarkably quiet about these ticket price crashes and the sudden evaporation of demand. That radio silence is leaving everyone, fans, media, league executives, to draw their own conclusions. Is she being smart by avoiding tough questions, or is this revealing just how much pressure she's actually feeling? Either way, the expectations for her to single-handedly save the league's momentum are reaching impossible levels.
But I'm like, I didn't realize just how bad it was gonna get. I didn't realize how bad. Like, they all moved arenas and everybody's trying to sell their tickets. Like, if you look, the get-in price on is $23.80. $23.80. is the get-in price for tomorrow night.
You might be wondering about all that college hype, her LSU championship run, those viral moments, that massive social media following. Shouldn't all of that star power translate directly to the pros? It seems logical that her proven ability to create buzz would automatically fill seats, but the professional reality is hitting different. Clark's presence turns arenas into must-see events, while Reese's star power, at least so far, isn't moving the financial needle nearly enough. This isn't about her talent or charisma. She's absolutely a star who thrives under pressure, but the league's dangerous dependence on one player is getting exposed, and even the best backup plan has its limits.
Even though the mainstream media wants us to believe that Angel Reese is a huge star, we have years of evidence that proves otherwise. Like I say all the time, there is a huge difference between a star and a draw. You can be a star, you can be famous, and still not be able to draw flies to a fresh turd.
The WNBA's big bet on Reese being able to hold everything together without Clark is turning into a very public reality check. Ticket prices, attendance numbers, arena energy, everything crashes when Clark isn't there, and Reese hasn't been able to stop the bleeding. That's a harsh but undeniable message for both the league and for Reese personally. This goes way beyond her individual performance. It's about what happens to an entire professional league when its top attraction suddenly disappears.
Angel Reese and the WNBA have been using race to bring awareness to an incredibly bad product. Once you remove Caitlin Clark from the equation, there's no reason for people to watch this league, which is why people haven't been watching Angel Reese throughout her career.
All this pressure on Reese, all these devastating numbers, all this media attention, it's just the beginning of what's becoming a much bigger existential crisis for the WNBA. Clark's injury isn't just creating a temporary setback, it's ripping off the band-aid and exposing fundamental weaknesses that threaten everything the league has been building toward. The ripple effects are getting stronger every day, and the stakes couldn't be higher.
They're losing merchandise sales, they're losing food sales, they're losing beverage sales, they're losing big. They took a big gamble to get into that arena, and they're losing big because it's not going to be full, and those people aren't going to be buying things.
The financial reality behind all this is absolutely brutal. The WNBA reportedly bled $40 million last year, and team owners are already questioning whether this whole venture is actually sustainable long term. If the upcoming media rights deal comes in lower than expected because Clark isn't generating her usual ratings and buzz, we could be looking at a complete disaster. Less money for teams, fewer resources for players, and even more pressure on a league that's already struggling to prove it can survive. When your entire business model depends on one person's health, you're walking a tightrope without a net.
That thing won't be worth shit if Caitlin Clark was to either get really injured and couldn't play or decided to just say, I'm not going to play here anymore, I'm going overseas. Where, by the way, they would pay her, my God, some of those countries might pay her $20 million a year to come over there and play.
Here's what should really terrify WNBA executives. Clark could make $20 million a year playing overseas. Money this league couldn't match even if they wanted to. The possibility of losing their biggest star to international offers isn't some distant threat. It's a very real reminder that the WNBA is competing in a global marketplace where they're not the highest bidder. If Clark or other top players decide to chase that international money, the league's ability to attract sponsors, TV deals, and fans could collapse entirely.
It's going to be real tough because even if you're out 3 weeks, you're missing a lot of game, a real portion of the year. All right. The ticket prices. This does not shock me at all. What did I say earlier? The WNBA was about to F around and find out, and these rival teams were going to be in a lot of trouble.
The desperation is getting so intense that some people are seriously arguing the league should give Clark special treatment on the court. Superstar calls like you see with LeBron, or how soccer protects Messi. The logic is simple. If the league's survival depends on keeping stars healthy and marketable, maybe they need extra protection. Whether you agree with that or not, the fact that it's even being discussed shows just how precarious this whole situation has become.
she was the league. Keep in mind, my point I'm trying to get to is when it came out that the league lost $40 million last year, NBA owners that own portions of these WNBA teams were starting to get angry and ask a lot of questions about when is this league ever going to make money. So that tells you there was starting to be a little life support situation happening when the owners were starting to get angry about never making a profit on this league.
This Clark dependency is giving everyone flashbacks to other leagues that made the same mistake. When Messi sits out an MLS game, ticket prices crash and teams scramble to keep fans from demanding refunds. The WNBA is now trapped in that exact same nightmare scenario, and it's becoming crystal clear that building your entire brand around one or two superstars is a recipe for disaster. They've tried pushing other players into the spotlight, but nobody has come even close to matching Clark's box office magic.
They can make money with the new media rights deal. If that was to fall through for some reason, the league is cooked. Close it down. Or Caitlin Clark could.
Hope and prayers aren't going to fix this problem. The numbers prove that even the most recognizable names after Clark can't prevent demand from falling off a cliff when she's not playing. The WNBA needs to figure out how to build multiple stars and spread that spotlight around, or they're going to keep repeating this cycle every time someone gets hurt. This isn't about one injury or a few bad weeks of ticket sales. The league is facing fundamental questions about how it builds its future and whether it can create a foundation that doesn't crumble the moment one person steps away.
So anybody with a connected brainstem knows that Caitlin Clark is far better of a basketball player and has made such a tremendous impact in a greater number, more so than Angel Reese. Everybody knows that. Her college career was better. The stadium sales, the WNBA popularity has gone up because Caitlin Clark.
The math tells the whole story. Clark's absence triggered a 42% drop in Fever home ticket prices, and that Sky matchup saw a catastrophic 71% overnight crash. Games that were supposed to be packed spectacles are now struggling to fill half their seats, and fans are voting with their wallets in the most brutal way possible. Even with Angel Reese and other stars stepping up to try and fill the void, the numbers don't lie. Nobody else is pulling fans at Clark's level. This isn't just a temporary setback for the WNBA. It's a wake-up call that demands a complete rethinking of how they build and market their stars.